Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we are doing the What's Next on Badou Jack, the newly crowned WBC Cruiserweight Champion of the world, following his upset. I believe it was a 9th or 10th round TKO victory over Ilunga Makabu to capture the WBC Cruiserweight title, as he captured a championship in his third weight class at the ripe age of 39 years old. Excuse me. Before we get into that, guys, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. Any kind of support would be great, and I'd really appreciate it. So back to Badou Jack now. You know, the guy comes in incredible shape. That's his, you know, I think he's got like his own line of drinks or something like that, or even supplements. I mean, the dude comes in incredible shape. A lot of his career, he's been the second half of the fight kind of guy. He's always kind of conserves his energy. In the second half, he really puts it on his opponents and wins a lot of the second half of the fight. The problem is he loses a lot of the first half of the fight, so that kind of pins him into a position to where, you know, he could potentially lose, you know, and he has been on the bad side of a couple close ones. He's fought to a couple draws, but this one he left no doubt. He was not doing that. He left no doubt. He went after Makabu, and he pretty much broke him down and stopped him impressively. And I'm really, really surprised that he was able to handle Makabu the way he did and all that. So my hat's off to Badou Jack. And the big question is, what's next for Badou Jack now? Well, we'll get into some of the guys in the top 10. I know there's another eliminator going on between Sergey Kovalev and Tabiso Mashunu, former world title challenger, who lost to Ilunga Makabu last year by a close split decision in their rematch. One second. But other than that, I know that's an eliminator. That potentially could be an option, but let's run through the top 10 and see what could be there. Remember, the top 10 is based on what it was at the beginning of the year. We start with IBF champion undefeated Jai Opetaia. Not likely a unification happens here. Opetaia is obligated to make a mandatory defense against Mateusz Masternak next, and he just filed for an extension on a surgery that he had, so he has till June 1st to get that fight rolling, but definitely wouldn't be in a time frame for him and Jack to meet in the second half of the year. Then you have former three-time world champion Maris Briedis. Now, I don't think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised, because Jack is going to want to fight established fighters, established good fighters, if he has options. And, you know, Briedis held the WBC title. That was actually the first belt that he won. He's a former three-time world champion. He won the World Boxing Super Series. He fought to the semifinals in the other one. He's still a viable name in this division. So I don't think it's going to be Briedis next, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Jack versus Briedis fight. Then you got undefeated WBO champion Lawrence Okolie. I don't see this one. I think it's a bad matchup for Jack. Okolie, very tall, like at 6'5", you know, and just has that lengthy kind of boxing style, young, hungry. Makabu is in his 30s already. I think Makabu is like 34. You know, Okolie just not that kind. In the second half of the year, I think Okolie's trying to focus on unification anyway, possibly against Arsene Goulamirian. So I'm going to rule this one out as a possibility for Jack next. You got a rematch with former WBC champion Ilunga Makabu. The thing is, there's really no point of a rematch. So I don't see a rematch happening here unless it was in the contract, because Jack was technically an optional defense. So unless Makabu has a rematch clause, which I've heard nothing of the sort, then I don't think Jack and Makabu has any kind of chance of happening next. Tabiso Mashunu. Here's the situation. If Noel Mikhailian or Gavor, whatever his last name is, he goes by both. If he's not going to fight Badou Jack next in a mandatory fight, then I think Mashunu has a very good chance of landing in that fight, because Mashunu is supposed to fight Sergey Kovalev next. And Mashunu, a lot of people thought he beat Makabu in their rematch, and he got robbed. He lost a split decision, but he was hot before that. He had won a couple good, solid fights. And let's be honest, Sergey Kovalev doesn't take punches the way he used to. And at an older age now, Mashunu's going to hit Kovalev. And I'm not sure Kovalev's going to walk out of that the winner. I think that's close to a 50-50 fight. And if Mashunu wins and becomes the mandatory, then it's very likely we could see Jack and Mashunu for the WBC title in the second half of the year. So we'll see. I definitely think it's a possibility. Then you got former world champion, or two-time world champ, Junior Dorticos. Definitely, you know, would be an interesting one, but I don't think it's a fight that Jack would take, just because Dorticos hits like a fucking heavyweight, and it's just a risk when there's other options there, beatable options. It's a risk to fight a former champ who's dangerous like that, so I don't see it. Then you have undefeated undefeated WBA champion Arsen Goulamirian. I'm sure Jack would be interested in unifying belts at some point, but Goulamirian doesn't really have a big name. He's undefeated. He looks to be heading in the direction of maybe Lawrence Okoli next, and I just think Jack might have mandatories or just better options, name options that he could take. Then you have Alexei Papin, contender. He's dropped out of all rankings. I don't see him as an option right now, especially him dropping out of all rankings. And also, if Jack were to consider him, I mean, the guy has serious power that Jack doesn't want to mess with, in my opinion, when he has other better options. Then you got Noel Gavor, which he was supposed to get the shot at Makabu in a mandatory fight, and for some reason, that fight got scrapped, and Jack stepped in to fight Makabu. Now, is the WBC going to grant him the shot at the title? Gavor next. Is he the mandatory in line? That's something we got to figure out, or are they going to order the winner of Kovalev Mashunu? I'm interested in seeing what comes from it, but I do think there's a chance that Jack's going to have to deal with Noel Gavor next. Then you got Mikhail Cieslak, the former world title challenger. Yeah, I don't see it. I think Cieslak would be a little bit too much of a threat, and he doesn't really deserve a title shot right now. So I don't think it's a fight that Jack would seek. And then finally, Sergey Kovalev. I think, honestly, that's probably who Jack would like to fight most in his next fight. But Kovalev's got to get through Mashunu, and then the WBC has to figure out if the winner of Kovalev Mashunu or Noel Gavor, if they're the mandatory, or if the winner of Kovalev Mashunu has to wait for Gavor to get his shot first. So I really think that's what it's going to be. It's either going to be the winner of Kovalev Mashunu against Jack next, or Noel Gavor with the winner of that fight waiting for whoever comes out of Jack and Gavor. So a lot of interesting moving pieces. I think the fight that I would like to see most, obviously, would be Jack against Kovalev. But, these two guys, that has to materialize. And right now, not sure it will. But that's it. That's what I got. That's my what's next on the newly crowned WBC 39-year-old Cruiserweight champion, Badou Jack, after his upset TKO victory over Ilunga Makabu. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.